Hey guys, it's Max with Max Tech. Today we are going to be taking a look at the new Galaxy S5e. This is a new tablet from Samsung, and we're going to be comparing it directly against Apple's brand new iPad Air, or if you want to call it the iPad Air 3. Both of these tablets have their strengths and weaknesses, so we're going to look at a wide variety of things, starting off with the display quality, the quality of the actual devices, cameras, speakers, performance, all of that stuff and more. So make sure you guys stick around. Now let's start out with the price. The S5e comes in at $400 compared to $500 for the iPad Air 3, both at 64 gigabytes of memory. For 80 bucks more, you can jump up to 128 gig with the S5e, and with the iPad, you have to go up to 256, which costs you an extra $150. Now the Samsung does have a strength, and that is an SD card slot. So for just about 40 bucks more, you can add an additional 256 gigs of storage. That's fairly fast, and it'll go all the way up to 512. So that does save you some money. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. And geez, first impressions, I haven't held this thing yet. It feels really lightweight. Let me do this again. I read the specs and it didn't seem like that big of a difference, but wow, that just jumped out at me as soon as I took it out. Geez, I'm shocked by how much of a weight difference there is. Let's take a quick look at the accessories. We have a charger, looks like the same one with the Galaxy phones. It's 15 watts compared to 12 watts with the iPad. A little dongle. That must mean that we have no headphone jack. No headphone jack, but at least they include this in the box. You may have noticed I have something else over here, and this is Samsung's book cover keyboard. It's $129, made specifically for the S5e. For the iPad Air, it uses the same keyboard as the iPad Pro, the previous generation. That comes in at $159. Now, as far as the actual build quality, this thing feels surprisingly good. I'm fairly impressed with the build quality. The little smart connector doesn't feel as flush as what Apple offers. And even though these are both 10.5-inch displays, as you can tell, the Samsung has thinner bezels, so it's both not as tall, shorter, and not as wide as the iPad. Looking at the back of the devices, you may be able to tell that the iPad Air does not have a camera bump, and that is nice if you want to set it down on the surface, but as you'll see later, there may be some downsides to that. The iPad does have a headphone jack, which is nice that it's still there, but we are missing extra speakers. This scanner seems like the same one as on the S10e, which I loved. It was super fast. While the S5e downloads a bunch of apps and updates like Android devices always do, let's compare the displays. So this is a 16:10 display aspect ratio. It's interesting that they chose that instead of 16:9 like Android tablets used to do, whereas our iPad is 4:3. And I'm gonna raise the brightness here, and I want to compare the maximum brightness that it allows us to have. The iPad does seem to be a little bit brighter on the whites. If I look right from the top, the iPad looks brighter. At this point, this much of an angle, the Samsung looks brighter, and then looking from about 45-degree angle, the Samsung looks much brighter. So interesting, we don't have much brightness shift on the Samsung at all. Let's take a closer look at the display quality. I opened up a really nice YouTube video. This is 60 frames per second. It goes, I think, 4K or even higher than that. It's also HDR. And the first thing that I noticed is how much bigger the image is on the S5e. So if I set this side by side here, the image is wider than the image on the iPad Pro, the actual video size. On top of that, looking this way, it's actually taller as well. The S5e has very thin bezels, a little strip up top, a little strip at the bottom, 16:10 aspect ratio, whereas the iPad has these really large black bars. This is going to be an even bigger deal if you're going to watch a Hollywood widescreen movie. The black bars are going to be massive on the iPad. This screen is HDR capable. YouTube is not showing up as HDR, so maybe YouTube needs an update on the app to support this new device. The iPad does not support HDR, but another thing that I noticed is as far as quality, the iPad only gives me 1080p, even though the display is higher than 1080p, whereas the S5e allows me to go up to 1440p and max out kind of the resolution here. So I'm just gonna compare 1080p at first. Quality difference, it's kind of hard to tell. Even though we're not in HDR, the ultra whites are a little bit brighter, and as far as the blacks, they're a little bit more contrasty, but I'm very surprised by the colors. They're very close. Now I'm gonna go in here and change it to 1440p, and now I could tell a difference. Definitely a lot more detail in the Samsung. So we have brighter whites, maybe a little bit more saturation, a little bit more contrast, and definitely a lot more detail. Obviously, if you're getting a better quality video coming in, it's making use of that and giving you a more detailed image. Now let's do a sound quality comparison. I am really surprised. Obviously, I knew the sound is going to be more immersive because we have 4 speakers, 2 on each side compared to just 2 at the bottom of the iPad. But having a more immersive experience doesn't mean that the sound quality is better or that it's louder. In this case, all of that is true. It's more immersive, we have twice the speakers, stereo sound, it's louder, and it sounds better. It feels like the sound is just hitting me in the face, like I said. Okay, sorry, I had to check out a movie here. I have to check out the sound. It sounds good. I'm hearing effects switch from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Yeah, that's good. All right, so enough drooling over the display and the speakers. Let's get to what is the most important, and that is the CPU. I'm half joking, but the CPU is definitely really important along with the graphics. Let's hit CPU, let these guys run. And while that's going, let me tell you about the specs internally. The S5e has 4 gigs of RAM compared to 3. The iPad comes with a top-of-the-line processor, where this processor is kind of like a mid-range phone processor. And along with that, we're gonna have some graphics difference as well. I don't really know what to expect on that end. I will be looking at some games, but I think I'll make that its own dedicated video. We can look at a few different games. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and enable those notifications if you guys wanna see that video. The Samsung took way longer to complete this, and let's check out the scores. Over here, we have 1681 single and 5669 multi-core score. With the iPad, 4824 compared to 11502. So as far as the actual performance, there's no doubt about it. The iPad Air has a top-line processor. Now for the graphics, you guys have to see this. This is scary. I don't want to see this score. Look how smooth the iPad is, perfectly smooth. The test results are in, and the Samsung tablet got totally destroyed. As far as CPU, the iPad CPU is more than twice as powerful. For graphics, 3 times as powerful. Obviously, the iPad is way better and graphics are way ahead. Cameras matter nowhere near as much in tablets as they do in smartphones, but I still want to do some comparisons. As you guys can see, the iPad Air has no camera bump, whereas the S5e definitely does. It's not horrible, but it is there. That is because the S5e has a 13 megapixel rear camera compared to 8 megapixel, and then on the front for selfies, we have 7 megapixel compared to 8. So we have better cameras on the Samsung. Now I'm going to show you guys some photos here side by side. I'm going to crop in. You guys let me know which one looks better from the rear camera, and then let's go ahead and take some selfies. You guys can tell me which one looks better as well down in the comments section below. Now one interesting thing I noticed is that we have live focus on the S5e. Let's go ahead and take a photo. Which direction? Let's say right over here. Of course, the iPad does not have that. The camera isn't as good, and at the same time, we don't have any true depth sensors or anything like that, so that is missing. But you let me know what you think about this photo down below. Now, as far as video, we also have some differences. The S5e can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second compared to just 1080p at 30 on the iPad. The iPad can't even do 1080p at 60 frames per second, so that is a big difference as well. Let's do a microphone and selfie video quality test, and you guys let me know which one is better. This is an audio quality test from the Samsung Galaxy S5e. This is a microphone quality test with the iPad Air 3. Now there's one more difference that I haven't yet mentioned, and it's a big one, and that is the input devices that you can use with these tablets. With the iPad Air 3, you can buy an Apple Pencil and use it to draw, write, scribble, whatever you want to do. You have that capability, and it's a great experience. Not as good as the iPad Pro with the Pro Motion displays, but it's still very good. Now with the new Samsung S5e, you do not have that capability. You can't buy an S Pen and use it. That's one area where Samsung probably saves some money, but one area where the Samsung does excel at is other input devices. So as you guys can see right here, I have a full desktop experience. You have the DeX functionality. Previously, you could plug in your phone or your tablet into a larger display, switch over, you might need a dock. Now you could do that in the tablet itself. And as you guys can see here, I have a web browser open, I have email open right over here, I have video open. And so if you want to do some work, be more productive, you can grab your keyboard or any Bluetooth keyboard really. There you go. And with Android, you can pair a mouse, and now I can literally be watching a video, working on some emails, maybe doing some research, writing some notes. With the Android, you have a full file browser. Nothing is hidden or locked down. I have access to all these folders. I can organize however I want. I can put in my SD card from my camera. I have access to everything, my video files, plug in an external flash drive or an SSD or something like that. I can go and plug it into a 27-inch display, have a big desktop-like experience, and get some real work done. But of course, not everybody's gonna need that or want to use it or even care about it. Just like with the iPad, not everybody's gonna care about having this Apple Pencil. It really is up to your use case and what you wanna do with these tablets. You let me know down in the comment section below which one of these would you prefer, which one would you buy, and why. I definitely want to hear you guys' opinions. Like I mentioned, we're going to be making more videos on the S5e, so if you want to see those, click that little circle above to subscribe. If you guys want to see a few more videos right now, I will have some right over here. You guys can click on that and check some of those out. This has been Max with Max Tech, and I will see you in the next video.